remember when that
No,
occurred.
I can't tell you the years.
Right. Well, what about the 50s, before they were closing down? Orders got slack and so forth. Why do you think the mill closed down at that time?
Now you're talking about when the mill liquidated
Yes,
this last time?
in the 50s, yes,
Well, they was, the way I got it, they wasn't, didn't have too big of orders, and I know I run samples for weeks in and weeks out, month in, month out, and I told Bertie, I don't see how this can continue. I said, all these samples all the time, they don't seem to be having the business. Bertie says, the darn place will shut down someday.
Yeah.
And so it just kept going just the same, and finally, when the union demanded more wages, Tommy Kay told us that he'd guarantee that this mill will not operate anymore. And so he gave us a speech down there, and I told the boys that there won't be no more money in it, it'll be shut down. And well, he said, if they can't pay any more money, why let them shut it down? So they wanted to, I think anyway, liquidate, because the stockholders, they had it made anyway, and they got a good price for all their equipment, like most of it went to Bishop. Got into the mill.
What did Tom Kay say at that lecture? Your recollection seems to be pretty good. Do you remember what else he said, other than the fact that if they asked for more wages, he wasn't going to be able to meet them?
He told them before there that he'd guarantee them that he told them that they'd liquidate the mill, or the mill would not operate if they asked for more money.
Why did he say that it couldn't operate? What was his problem?
Well, of course, they'd say that it'd be on account of the wages.
Speaking about the union, do you think that it was effective over at that mill?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. When we went to work, this was the problem. Page, he was a superintendent, and his son, Chet, was assistant superintendent. And my brother was the boss. We were in the weave room in the department. And the son, Chet, he had jurisdiction over my brother in the weave room, so he couldn't do nothing about things. And he'd take these ball players of his, he had a ball club, and he'd take these 7, 8, 9 ball players, whatever there was, and put them on our looms in the night. And he'd run up bobbins and filling and warp where there's nothing coming along to put in there. You'd go down there in the morning with your dinner bucket, and you'd have to go back home again because there's no work. So that happened different times. And the same as saying you haven't really got a job. Well, like I say, Fred couldn't do anything, my brother, he couldn't do anything about it, so it went along like that and that's what forced the union on the Kay Mill. It was dissatisfaction. They'd never had a union there, and they never, until those latter years, but this trouble brought the union on. So they went all down there, I went down there, and we all organized the union. Of course, Chet, that's the superintendent's son, he said that he come right out on the porch when we was out there, and he says to him, he says, anybody that joins the union will be out of a job. So he's one of these top shots, you know. So anyway, we joined the union, and just wasn't long after that, the mill